So this is going to be another TV series review. I haven't done one since North and South, I think. This one's called The Day of the Triffids, 1981. I'm giving it 5 out of 5 stars. I love this version of it, especially the opening and the closing credits. Oh my gosh. This has to be 100 times better than the 1963 version. I haven't seen the 2009 version, but this is it. This is the one to watch. I love this show. If you like Doctor Who, Blake Seven, Torchwood, that kind of stuff, you're gonna love this. The Day of the Triffids is a British science fiction drama serial which first aired by BBC Television, BBC One? I don't know. Just says BBC Television in 1981. I posted links to the trailer and the opening credits in the description. An adaptation by Douglas Livingstone of the 1951 novel by John Wyndham. The 6 half-hour episodes were produced by David Maloney, directed by Ken Hannum, with original music by Christopher Gunny. I love the music. It premiered simultaneously in the UK and in Australia on ABC Television, Australian Broadcasting Corporation. The series takes place in late 20th century Britain. A spectacular meteorite shower unexpectedly renders most of humanity blind, leading to the breakdown of society overnight. Unaware of this, Bill Mass and John Dutton has retained his sight by virtue of being in the hospital with his eyes bandaged at the time of the shower. Bill works on a Triffid farm where the mobile and carnivorous plants are cultivated for their oil with their deadly stings retained, which improves the oil quality. I have no idea what this oil is for, but it's some kind of valuable $10 million oil that has its inventor was from behind the Iron Curtain, some dude in Russia. That was what I was able to gather from the first episode. Prior to the story, he was stung by a plant. Even though he was wearing protective clothing, some of the poison got into his eyes. In the hospital, he tentatively removes the bandages and he gradually discovers the catastrophe around him. It's good to see breakdown of society. We like dystopian movies on this channel. I used to have the 1963 movie in my VHS collection. I think I was just attracted to the movie title. The Day of the Triffids sounded cool. But then I watched it. I hated that movie. I thought it was incredibly boring. Anyways, this version is great. This is the one to see. It was released September 10th, 1981 through October 15th, 1981. The original network was BBC One, free-to-air public broadcast television channel, owned and operated by the BBC. Before the 1990s, I think BBC was decent for science fiction. That's all I gotta say. Anyways, he rescues Josella Joe Clayton, Emma Ralph. I like Emma Ralph. But I think I like her shorter hair in the first 5 episodes. Anyways, he rescues Josella Jo Clayton Emma Ralph from her blind captor, and he finds that she has slept through the meteorite shower through, thus keeping her sight. She had a bad hangover. They eventually come across a small band of similarly lucky survivors who have decided to leave London and establish a community elsewhere to begin rebuilding civilization. They are initially opposed by cited Jack Coker, Maurice Colborne, who wants them to stay in London and help the blind, not abandon them. There are so many twists and turns in this. It's like a great dystopian adventure. When the others reject his scheme, he and a few sighted helpers capture some in the group, including Bill and Joe. He assigns each to a different group of the blind. Bill is handcuffed to the two of his charges to prevent him leaving them. If that happened to me, I would stop being friends with Jack Coker, but they became friends later. Anyway, the Triffid gets loose. The Triffids get loose, and they run amok amongst the helpless blind human population. I like the Triffid plants in this one. They actually look menacing, unlike the 1963 film, slaughtering and feeding on them. Between the Triffids and the mysterious deadly disease, most of Bill's group eventually die. The rest scatter. Bill starts searching for Joe, and he teams up with Jack, who admits his plan did not work as he had hoped. They drive through the English countryside and encounter part of the group that had left London. The group had split after a disagreement over morality. They wanted like 3 wives for every man. And the Bible thumpers, the followers of God's law, didn't agree with that. The ones who stayed behind, led by Miss Durant, Perlita Nielsen, refused to accept that polygamy would be necessary to repopulate the world. After more fruitless searching, Jack decides to return to Miss Durant's community. Bill meets a young girl, Susan, and she accompanies him. She's just like, stop! And so he stops in the road and helps this little girl bury her dad or something. And then he adopts her, Susan, as his daughter. They're singing Yellow Submarine in the 6th episode. I didn't like the 6th episode as much as the other ones. The first episode was excellent, and then started to go downhill, but it still a great series overall. Finally, he recalls that Joe had spoken of a place belonging to her friends in the Sussex Downs. There he is reunited with her. He just happens to be driving aimlessly, and she's standing in the middle of the road waiting for him. What are the odds of that happening? But hey, okay. There he is reunited with her, and after erecting a protective fence around the farm to keep out the Triffids, they settle down and they start raising a family. 6 years pass. Now we're on part 6. 6 years passed, and one day Jack shows up in the helicopter. Miss Durant's group had been wiped out by the disease, but the other faction had secured the Isle of Wight, and they exterminated the local Triffid population. They're watching those it reminded me of people who are afraid of Frankenfoods, man. I don't know. But these Triffids are like Frankenfoods gone berserk, wipe out the entire population. Then you've got the disease and the blindness thing that could be interrelated to the Triffids, could be part of something else. We don't know. Nobody knows what's going on in this movie. I mean, in this television miniseries, TV series, whatever you want to call it. I love this stuff. Yeah, I hated the 1963 movie, but I love the 1981 miniseries. Adrian's in the chat room. When was the last time Adrian was in the chat room? He stopped. I didn't look up George Chung on Google Karate Man. Now we got both Australian mates in the chat room. You want me to look him up now? George Chung. Let's see. I guess he looks familiar. I don't remember. What was he in? What other movies was he in? Karate Man wants me to look up. Oh, he was in Rambo First Blood Part 2, which I saw in the movie theater with my mother. My mother took me to see that. Oh, he was in Starsky and Hutch. I gotta update. He was in Rush Hour. What else? Shoot Fighter, Fight to the Death. First Strike. Under Siege. He was in Under Siege. Really? Yeah, I gotta update my my descriptions for all of those. Death Ring. How come I'm not seeing Death Ring on? Oh, here it is. Death Ring. Oh yeah, I remember that one. That was a good one. Death Ring. Anyways. With the situation gradually deteriorating where they are, Bill, Joe, and the blind friends who own the farm, as well as the children, prepare to join them at the Isle of Wight. After this dude handcuffs her husband to a bunch of blind people, they're going to join him in the Isle of Wight. After he admitted that his plan to help blind people didn't work. Before they can leave, several uniformed men arrive in an armored car the next day. They are part of an organization that is setting up a feudal society, which I think is something that my son wants. He wants he wants the English kings to come back because they all followed Catholic teaching up until King Henry VIII. Anyway, this new feudal society will be the new aristocracy. In their setup, one-sided person is in charge of 10 of the blind. They plan to assign more blind people to Bill and Joe, take Susan away to learn how to take care of others. Bill gets the soldiers drunk and sabotages their vehicle. And that's pretty much it. The Triffid was operated by a man crouching inside, cooled by a fan installed in its neck. The clackers were radio controlled. The gnarled bowl based on the ginseng root, was made of latex with a covering of sawdust and string, while the neck was fiberglass and continued down to the floor where it joined with the operator's seat. The plant was surmounted by a flexible rubber head coated with clear gunge. After the end of production, one was displayed for a while in the Natural History Museum in London. They were designed by Steve Druitt, who worked there. Copies of the props later were fellow guests at a cocktail party with Angus Dayton during an episode of Alexei Sales Stuff, whatever that is. I don't even know who these people are. Anyways, cool looking plants. Better than the movie, way better. Some of the locations used in the series, such as the University of London Senate House, corresponded to those specified in the book. Many of the locations used during filming can be located by studying the street names and other signs which appear in the show. For example, Joe's family home appears to be 2 Heathside, which is adjacent to Hampstead Heath in London. NW3, Joe's car breaks down at the junction of Remington Street and Nelson Place in Islington in episode 2, and Joe and Bill first meet yards away from that location in a stairwell on the Theseus estate before running along Theseus Walk in episode 3. It's kind of a cool tour of Great Britain during 1981. The British Film Institute's Screen Online wrote, "This remains a compelling and understated thriller, as with the same year's classic, The Nightmare Man." Also on BBC, it represents serious and unsentimental science fiction, with John Dutton in particular excelling as the battling and bewilderness protagonist, struggling to survive in a blind, brutal world. We like blind, brutal world. Cool. Critic David Pringle termed the original novel a very enjoyable catastrophe, and to the production team's credit, the same can be said of this involving intelligent adaptation. Yes, this is depressing, man. You like depressing stuff. Oh, Karate Man's. If you like depressing stuff, you're going to love this. You're going to love this if you like Doctor Who, Blick 7, Torchwood, all that kind of stuff. All right. The series was Karate Man's still going off on this George Cheung guy. But it's a good thing I looked him up, because I forgot to put his name in the description on so many of these movies. I didn't actually recognize him until Karate Man kept bugging me about him. Oh, he was that Weekend at Bernie's. There was this guy who was taking fentanyl, my former coworker, and we put up the movie poster for Weekend at Bernie's at his desk. I don't think he was too amused. And he kept falling asleep while he was standing up. And eventually they got rid of him. Quicker than they got rid of me. So at least I survived for 3 years. We love weird depression stuff. Adrian says, well, I'm not sure Karate Man loves it, but Adrian and I love that stuff. That's probably my favorite genre, dystopian movies. For Karate Man, yeah, I saw Rambo 2 when it came out. I don't think my mother wanted to see it. She was just kind of treating me like it was some kind of birthday gift or something. I think I saw all three in the movie theaters. I don't remember. I just remember my mother kept taking me all the time to see Rambo. It was so long ago, I forgot. All right. The series was released on DVD in the UK on April 4th, 2005, and in Australia on June 6th, 2005. A US DVD through BBC Home Video was released on October 1st, 2007, which is the version that I saw, which does not have bonus features. A Blu-ray of the series was released on September 7, 2020 in the UK. The series was repeated on BBC One from March 7, 1984 to April 11, 1984. That's where the trailer and the description comes from. Satellite channel UK Gold screened the series in 1996, 2004, 2005. And the Sci-Fi channel broadcast the series in 2006. BBC 4 also screened the series in 2006, 2009, and 2014. As of 2014, it is streaming in the US on Hulu. Owned by the Disney Channel, Comcast, NBC Universal. The series was shown in New Zealand in the 1980s on TVNZ. And for those of you who don't know, ABC Television in Australia means Australian Broadcasting Corporation. All right. Well, there you have it. I love this. This was only one of the 3 discs that I really love. The other 2 I hated. Day of the Dolphin and The Dark Hour. But I got 3 movie reviews in today. I made up for the last 6 days of nothing. Big fat donut. And tomorrow I'm going to go down my YouTube list. And then Monday I have the whole day off. I'm just going to search for work. I got a phone interview in the afternoon. And the rest of the day, I'm going down my list. I got 2 of the 3 Netflix DVDs in the mail. But Netflix won't receive it until Tuesday, thanks to the long 3-day weekend. Stallone admitted that he was doing steroids on all 4 Rambo. That doesn't surprise me. Now he's probably got man boobs like Arnold. Rambo 4. I don't think I've seen Rambo 4. I'm going to have to look those up. I think I've seen the first 3, but I haven't seen the 4th one. I'm going to have to look up the 4th one. Cool. Well, nice talking to you, mates. I told you what was coming down the pike in my last video. Karate Man was in the chat room, but he didn't care. What else? Oh, I showed you the actual DVDs, the little discs on my first review today. And I'll add Rambo 4 to my Netflix queue if I can find it. Cool. That's the end of my review. Laters.